there. My name is Dr. Michael Harris. I'm author of a book called The Fruits of Virtue. It's about seeking to live at a higher plane, a higher life, by becoming your best self. I recently read a book called Anatomy of Peace. It was very moving and had a profound impact on my life. When it comes to conflict, there's two positions. There's the desire to find personal peace on one side, or being an all-out war on the other. There's so much division in the world today. The best influencers are telling us to be compassionate, to seek to try to understand another person's point of view, and to be kind. Stephen R. Covey said, seek to understand another person before seeking to be understood. I want to share 3 different stories that perhaps will bring this point home to you. The first is about 2 men named Yusuf and Avi, and they are 2 of the principles found in this book, The Anatomy of Peace. Both have lost their fathers in the Middle East to war, and Avi, a Jew, is embittered for many years. He and his mother emigrate to the United States, and he finds himself at Arizona State University going to school. And he comes in contact with one of his professors who is an Arab, and he learns that Yusuf has a desert program, a survival program for troubled youth. These 2 become friends, and through their conversations about their homeland, Avi is touched by the compassion that Yusuf shows him and comes to see that his heart is at war. He doesn't have a peaceful heart, and he needs to change. Later on, Yusuf and Avi become partners in this survival program that's conducted out in the desert. And they're doing an orientation for parents who have youth that they want to enroll in this program. And one couple has brought their daughter in, and as they're getting out of the car to go into the building for the orientation, the girl runs off, and she's barefoot. And this is the streets of Phoenix, where the sidewalks heat up very, very hot within a matter of hours. 2 of the younger trainers in this program begin to go after her. They want to help her. But Jenny is always several hundred yards ahead of them. And as they pursue her to help her to come back and at least have a discussion at the orientation center, they notice the pavement begins to show blood. Jenny's feet are blistered and bleeding. And this goes on for hours. These 2 individuals trying to reach Jenny. At one point, they're in shouting distance, and one of the girls shouts to Jenny, "Here, take my shoes. This isn't right. I'm upset that your feet are bleeding and you won't let us help you." But Jenny yells some expletives and continues to run. Ultimately, Jenny makes her way to a mall and comes across one of her friends who she has a discussion with. And her friend says to her, maybe this place isn't so bad. You've got trouble with your parents. Maybe you can get some help. And these 2 staff members finally caught up with her in the mall, and they make amends, so to speak. Jenny's heart is softened because she sees that these people, not much older than her, are there to help her. And she puts on the staff member's shoes, and they make their way back to the orientation center. What happened there? What did it take for Jenny's heart to soften, for her to see her pursuers in a different light? One of the parents who comes to the orientation tells his story. Years earlier, when he was a young man, his father had just purchased a car, and the father consented for this man to take the car for a spin. And Lou starts the car, realizes there's some things he's left in the house, and so he goes back into the house to get the things. And when he gets outside of the house, he sees the car moving toward the river, and he's not able to catch up to it. And this brand new car goes over the side of the banks into the river, completely enveloped by the water. And he's completely overwhelmed with guilt and shame. Doesn't know what to say, and ultimately tells his father. And his father says, "That's okay. We can always get another car." His father showed complete and amazing grace and mercy. Not many years ago, my father became ill, and we needed to put him into a assisted living center. And he had a home to sell. And I found myself with my sister and my brother at the house going through things. I had a relationship with my sister that was not reconciled. There was still anger and bitterness and mistrust from both of us for the other. And the opportunity came to bury the hatchet after decades and to forgive my sister. And I went to my sister and said, let's move on. Let's be kind. Let's be better. Will you forgive me? And a miracle occurred. She did. and a sister who would not come to my home for more than brief visits will now spend the weekend. The relationship isn't perfect, but it's vastly improved, only because each of us sought to see each other in a new light. So the story of Avi and Yusuf, the story of Lou, who was forgiven quickly and immediately by his father, the story of Jenny, who came to see those pursuing her as people who cared, people who just wanted to help, and my own sister. My friends, we can change our heart. And if we change our heart and we see others differently, we can change our neighborhoods, we can change our communities, we can change society. It all starts with us. Let me share a few other things with you. For many of us, Christ is a great example. Matthew chapter 5 talks a lot about finding and making peace. In the Beatitudes, he says, "Blessed are the peacemakers." He says later in his sermonizing and his teachings, to agree with your enemies, agree with your adversaries, not so that they can destroy you, but to make peace and to reduce conflict. He taught the powerful saying, which is difficult for myself and probably for most of us, to love your enemies. Bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. An extremely high standard, but one that we may reach if we begin to see people as human beings and not as objects. If we can find compassion and understanding. This is a story I'd like you to hear. It's only a couple minutes long, about the compassion and the forgiveness of this wonderful lady.
They left him lying in the street, in the gutter.
What's the address of your emergency?
In Thomasville. Somebody looked like they'd been shot in the head. Ran on the ground. People around till they heard a gunshot.
I don't hate you. I can't hate you. It's not our way. Showing rahmah, mercy, that is our way. And you were a baby, and you are still a child. His death was already ordained. Maybe the purpose is to save your life, because you're not going to be killed by this society. My family would like very much to be a part of your seeing a better way of life, so that this does not repeat itself. Because I will always be a part of your life. Any life that you take is not just one life. It is all that is connected to that life. And what we want for them is not revenge. Revenge solves nothing. It will not bring back my son.
And if I do, I want to bring them God.
You can only see how to help them when you have forgiven, truly from your heart.
That is very powerful, isn't it? We can see people as human beings and not as objects. Abraham Lincoln said some powerful things as he gave his first inaugural address. We're not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystical cords of memory stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over this broad land will yet swell the chorus of the Union, when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. he could see that capacity, as some of our better leaders can. I invite you, challenge you, to be less judgmental, less critical, to see others in a more profound, more human way. Start with just one person in your life, and I think your world will change. Try to see people as humans and not as objects. When you can, try to forgive them in real time. You have to start before you're ready.